Hi, everybody. Happy Sunday. It is cold here. Is it cold there? It's cold here. I don't even know what the temperature is. Let's see.
That cold.
Wow. I feel cold. Coffee. Got myself a Snoopy blanket. Scott says it's not that cold. But anyways, how are you guys doing this week? How has carnivore, ketovore been going for you? It has been kind of a hectic week for us. I feel like I say that every week, but this week feels a little extra. We are still battling with Ryu's suspected spider bite on her abdomen that turned into a wound. I won't gross anybody out by showing anything of it, but it's infected, and so we're having to do a lot of wound care on it. Yesterday, I spent not that long because thankfully they weren't that busy. Went to the emergency vet again because Scott was really concerned about how it was looking.
Yeah, okay, so I was being a helicopter dad.
Well, I mean, I guess it's better safe than sorry, especially with infections. Hi, Roxanne. Hi, Jess. Hi, Mama Cracker. How are you guys doing today? Does anybody have anything fun planned today? I haven't thought past my cup of coffee. Scott and I got up late. We actually haven't been up that long. We were doing wound care this morning. Imagine that. Anywho, remember, if you have questions, throw them in the comments and I shall get to them. But I will say the win for this week for me is I was sitting yesterday at the emergency vet clinic. I took my crochet, I like this backpack that I can put my crochet stuff in. I took that and some headphones while they had her back there. And my stress level, if I was a thermometer, the top of the thermometer wanted to crack. The amount of stress this has put me under, worrying about her and what to do, not do. And we're riding a fine line because it's where it's on her abdominal wall, that if it gets into the bloodstream, she can become septic, which will kill her. She's 13. There's no way she can survive from that. So I briefly had this, I should go eat something. And it was just like a 5-second thought. And then it's like, you know what? There is not one thing in my mind that popped up that I should eat. Hello. 2, I was like, I know it's not going to make me feel better. And within the 5 seconds, the thought came and then went, which I'm really, really proud of because stress is my number one trigger for wanting to eat something bad. In the past few weeks, it's been getting slightly easier and easier and easier to just kind of get past that. And yesterday was really, I think, even bigger than the week before because for the more recent period of time, just the amount of stress I've been probably putting myself under for the worry about it, it was pretty high yesterday. I told Scott if I had any adult drugs to use yesterday, I would have. I just needed something to calm me down.
Well, okay, so for yesterday, really, because I can drive your stress sometimes, right? If I'm worried about something and I read some, bad news about what's going on in the economy or whatever, and I can drive your stress. So I kind of drove your stress with Rio about the wound, and it actually was really amazing that you just kind of dealt with that and it didn't,
Yeah, we did a fun game day. Scott had some friends come up and did a game day yesterday. We went down to change it, and then I was like, you know what? It's not looking good. And Scott wanted me. That is Olive's butt just rubbing against the laptop. We're having dog earthquakes here.
Olive, wait up.
So I just took her by myself and went and dealt with it and did what we needed to do. So whoop whoop to win to that. Let's see. I saw Victoria's asking, how's the baby? Oh my goodness. He's so sweet. We went down Friday. My arms are jello, my shoulders and arms. We went down Friday. We're going to start going 3 times a week, going down to my sister's because my brother-in-law has a gym in their garage. And he's going to help us set out our work regimen, our workouts. And he said because we missed earlier in the week, he was going to make me work hard, and he did. So my arms are kind of noodles. But we went down. Half the reason I go is just to see the baby, y'all. That's actually probably the main reason. Forget working out. That's my price I pay for the excuse of just spending more time with the baby. He's doing so good. He's at 10 pounds, 10 pounds, 5 ounces or something like that. He's doing really, really good. He's starting to sleep better because he was pretty much partying all night and sleeping all day. But I think Thursday night, my sister said that she fed him at midnight, 4 a.m. and then 8. So she got 2 4-hour blocks of sleep, which is really good. But he's doing so good. He's so sweet. I know he's my nephew, but y'all, he is the cutest. He should be a Gerber baby. He's so cute. Mikey, I made the beef in the slow cooker as you described with just fat, no water. Oh my goodness, the best tasting beef I've ever managed to do. Yes. Y'all, if you have not, I promise I'm going to do a video this week. It'll be like literally a minute long video of how Scott and I do our slow cooker beef chuck roast. It is phenomenal. My entire life, I've added chicken stock, beef stock, water, whatever to the pot. Do not do that. It waters the flavor down, and it will surprise you how amazing it is. I will never go back to the previous cooking methods ever. Candace, good morning. Love the cool and wet weather in our new home in Southwest Washington. No more hot California Thanksgivings. Southwest. So you are probably Tacoma-ish area, I'm wondering, Candace, or somewhere around there. All right. Adam, update. OMAD Lion diet, down 160 pounds. Woo woo.
Right on.
Let's see. Got rid of 20 years of back pain, bad depression very quickly. Anyone? Yes. It is amazing. And you know, Adam, you're super strong. I have to tell you this for doing OMAD Lion. That is amazing. I mean, that is some true commitment to health right there. I am definitely committed. Lion was a bit too restrictive for me, but I'm super proud of you. You have no idea. Hi, Lynn. Had fun night with friends last night at my house. We ate a yum chuck roast. We had chuck roast last night too. Imagine that. Made sugar-free custard for a treat. Fun. That sounds like a lot of fun. Emily, I became carnivore for 3 months. I came into a stressful situation in life and completely stopped. Now I'm trying to find the motivation and determination to go back to carnivore. Any suggestions? Versus going from like black to white starkness with this, today, pick 3 things you can simply change. 3 habits you can change. Okay. Something else I suggest, which is kind of a big step, but important, throw all of that sugar out or donate it to the food bank. Get it out of your house. If you live with other people, kind of aggregate it into a cabinet you do not have to go into. Those are my suggestions. Pick 3 things, habits you can do. And it doesn't even have to be around food. Making the bed in the morning. I cannot tell you, although we rushed this morning. I didn't make it this morning yet. That kind of like clears my mind. I don't know what it is. Going into a room that is not messy helps me more than anything. So for me, making the bed would be a really good starter step. You know, cutting out coffee sugar would be another one. Just find 3 things today. Work on making them habits constantly. And every few days, try to add 1 or 2 things if you're doing well with the others. Okay. But get rid of that sugar. That is, and the last thing, y'all are always sitting on this book. I need to get a different one. Go buy this book. Go buy this book. Go rent it at the library. Go get this book and start reading it today. Okay. That's probably my number 1 suggestion. Go get this book. Start reading it today. Do that. Do it. Do it. Do it. I will go with Scott's turning it over every now and then from keeping it soft and juicy all around. I don't care for a crust. I like it, but do it, because if you do flip it more, it does give you less of the crustiness, but I like that. Lynn's asking, do you know how I can notch my last name on YouTube?
Yes. You click on your icon in the top right, and it's generally like whatever you have initially, and then you go to Google account, and then you go to personal info, and you would change your name and your alias and who can see it. Just have to do a little bit of exploring, but that's about it. You got to go into your personal account to change it. Paula, probably, okay, quick recap. Simple. Crock pot, low. Take your chuck roast. Chuck it in the crock pot. Add some tallow. If you're going to do avocado oil, that's fine too.
bacon grease. Pick one fat, just enough to cover the bottom of the pot, the crock pot. Toss your meat in it. Season it with whatever seasonings you're going to do. Put the lid on. It's that simple. Let it cook 8 to 9 hours. It's going to really depend on the size of the meat. We had a really small piece that only took 6 one time, but then we discovered that wasn't enough meat for both of us. So for the amount we put in, it's anywhere from 8 to 10 hours depending on the size of the meat. You know it's ready when you put your fork in and it's like just falls apart. Before you shred it, take the meat out. Either use an immersion blender, not a regular blender, an immersion blender, or if you don't have one, pour the juice into a blender thing, mix it up because it mixes the fat and the meat juices together. Put it back in the crock pot, put the meat back in the crock pot, shred, let sit 15 to 30 minutes, boom, dinner done. It sounds like more harder than it is. It literally, I think there's probably 5 minutes of prep, mixing the meat up. Okay, well, from start to finish, 5 minutes of prep, mixing the meat up, ready to eat, 5 minutes of actual effort. It's phenomenal. It's crazy easy. Crazy easy.
We introduced our friends to the apple pecan salt.
Yeah, Scott's.
They loved it. They're like, oh, I'm not really hungry because we gave them a good meal for lunch yesterday. I'm like, all right, well, just at least try this. You know, we made all this meat for everybody. And then they started taking a few bites and they're really good. And then they started getting down.
They
like,
ended up eating more.
And then pretty much one guy took the rest of the sample and then 2 other guys took the whole bowl for themselves. They loved it. It was great, even though they were not really that hungry.
Yeah. Sidra, I'm trying to start carnivore, but I fail because I crave a lot of bread and sugar. Is it in your house? I know, like, I probably harp on this constantly. If you can get, like, if you are the only person in the house, or if you can convince your other people in the house with you, get rid of it. Get it out of the house. Out of sight, out of mind is it's so helpful. I can't even explain to you. How many times have you been like bebopping along commercials? This is what commercials do. You've been bebopping along and then all of a sudden you see something, you're like, ooh, I really want that. Like whether it's food or an item or something like that, it triggers that desire mechanism in our brain. If you don't have the trigger, you don't have to worry about dealing with the desire. So out of sight, out of mind, get it there. Again, as I said before, if you don't put all of that stuff in a cabinet or put all your stuff in a cabinet where you don't have to get in the other cabinets, so you don't have to look at it. I had a lady at the meetup that her husband always wanted bread and wouldn't give it up. So she put a towel in the refrigerator over the bread loaf. So when she opened the refrigerator, she didn't have to look at it. Okay. Like these are the small things that just are absolutely vital that we do. And I feel like have helped me more than anything. Yes.
This is also why we recommend Atomic Habits because chapter 1 talks about the mechanism in the brain that goes from it's a cue. God, I can't remember all 4 right now. But essentially, you think of something, you think of the reward, then you think of going through the process of getting the reward, and you get the reward. So, like the whole visualization is a cue, and that is what triggers you to go through a habit, and it's really interesting because it explains how that brain chemistry kind of works, and out of habits. That you just start to eat things because you see them and you think about them. We talked about this last weekend if you weren't here, but part of the reason that Amanda is doing better with her struggling is because I've worked really hard on not talking about, not putting into being my wants, desires, little like, because in the past we're like, you know what, I want a Nutty Buddy, but
I'm not
going to. I won't eat it because I'll be good. Well, I spoke it into being that desire and put something in her head that she's like, well.
It's more that he says it and I'm like, oh, there's a chink in his armor. Let me get that ice pick out and stab at it. Because I know if I poke that spot enough times, he'll cave and do it. And the fact that he's not even showing me any chinks in his armor anymore, it doesn't even cause, I mean, I'm not setting it on him like it's his fault, but it's just one less thing that doesn't, it's one less cue for me to even think about. Like, I don't even mention the bad foods anymore. Like, I'll just say bad food and I just leave it as a blanket. I don't say anything specific anymore. Like, oh, I want blah, blah, blah. It's like, maybe I want something bad, but I'm not going to do that. So then I don't have that brain focusing on like that, whatever that one item might be. And then it goes in this perseveration mode. I know most of you have experienced this. The perseveration is your brain just keeps thinking about that one item. Like if it's a square block, it's like, I want to eat a square block. I want to eat a square block. 3 hours later, you're still thinking, I want to eat that square block, whatever it is. And it keeps that from happening. So Sidra, 2, Atomic Habits. Go get that book. Go get it. Restless Kind. It happened on day 51. I got my period. Woo, woo! After no years, countless meds-induced periods, this was the first natural period in 7 years. That is amazing. Because if I remember correctly, weight isn't your issue. It's been dealing with the cycles and periods and stuff, right? I'm super proud for you. As a female, I really hate my period. However, I'm with you on this boat of having normal cycles. Normal. Because mine, I'd go months without, and then I'd go 1 week, and then 2 weeks later I'd have another period. Like I had such an abnormal cycle happening. So I'm really happy for you because one, you feel better. Like you feel so much better when your body is running how it should be. Jess, just finished chapter 1. Nice. Then you got what Scott was talking about the habits and stuff. Good morning, Rita. Marcia, you look great. How many pounds have you lost? Did not weigh myself this morning. We got up late. But I will have it in my update tomorrow. How much? Because I just haven't weighed myself just yet. So I'll let you know tomorrow's update. I read Atomic Habits, but I think it's time to read again. Yes. Also, where's the other one, Scott? Tiny Habits? Another one. Can you hand it to me? I don't have, what's that old show, Mr. Extendo Arms? I don't even remember.
Go Gadget.
Go Gadget Arms. If you've read Atomic Habits, this is the other one I suggest. Atomic Habits is very good about kind of getting the concepts and explaining things. Tiny Habits is also very good. This gives you more practical advice. In the back of the book, let me find it. In the back of the book, it has, if I can find it, a section that tells you, like, here are some suggestions. Oh, here we go. Like tiny exercises to practice stopping and swapping, whether it has like exercises or food or stuff. It has suggestions that you can use. So if you do a little bit better with some more like solid advice, Tiny Habits is another good book. I really like both of them. I think they both have their place. But if you want a little more solid suggestions, Tiny Habits has it in here versus Atomic Habits. But again, I think they're both worth reading. Teresa, my mom has a whole pantry and I have cabinets. I don't have to see her stuff. Yeah, you negotiate with the people in your house. Most of the time, unless they're trying to purposely sabotage you or other personal things are going on, they'll be willing to do, some rearranging and stuff to make it a little bit easier on you. And if you are in a household that people don't agree, have a conversation, a direct one. Listen, I'm doing this for my health. You may not agree with it, and that is okay. That is your prerogative, but this is what I want to do. Please respect my decision. Most people, that simple conversation with them, they kind of reflect back on their behavior of trying to like sabotage you and stuff. And they're like, okay, maybe I should, back off a bit. Can't say it'll always work, but being direct is the best. With this way of eating, there's very little food you can keep in the cabinets besides sardines and tuna. We keep pork rinds. We keep the Carnivore Crisp beef powders, chicken flours. I said powder, but I meant flour. We keep, I do pickled jalapenos. Yes, they're not carnivore, but that's my little extra something or other. What else do we keep in the cabinet? Vanilla extract. Again, it goes in my coffee.
The spices.
The meat sticks. Archers. If you like meat sticks, Archers.
Just meaty snacks like jerky.
Carnivore Crisps stay in there. We have some jungle biltong in there. So yeah, it's mostly like jerkies and stuff and pork rinds that we keep in ours. Jazzy Jude, do you thaw the meat before you put it in the crock pot? Yes. Scott made the mistake Thursday forgetting to take the chuck roast out, but we were going to forge through and do it from frozen. It took 3 extra hours to cook it, and it was more dried out than I would have liked it because it had to sit in a crock pot longer. So thaw it, then chuck that sucker in there. You can do from frozen, as I said, but it took like 3 hours longer for, what was that, 4-pound chuck roast, 3-pound?
Yeah.
3-pound chuck roast.
Yeah, it took a lot longer.
It took like 3 extra hours.
Yeah, a little bit harder too.
Yeah, we ended up getting dinner at there's a barbecue place around the corner, the owner's Carnivore. We went and did that because it was like 11 o'clock by the time the meat finished. It just took so long. So do thaw it. You will thank yourself. So I used to do the searing method because, the whole lock it in. Honestly, skip it. I'm telling you, you skip it. And the flavor is so good. So good. Hello. I've noticed your rosacea's gone. For the most part, it is. There's still some slightly, like if you see me in person right there, that was actually a couple years ago. I ran my face into my walker. It's a long story that you do not need to hear about. I ran my face in the walker and it actually caused some skin damage. I have some broken blood vessels still slightly, but that's the damage rosacea causes. But it's not like my face is beet red anymore. Definitely not. Hi, Beverly. Hi, Betsy. Your vid with this week with Mike Shot was incredible. I don't know what you did, but you looked even better than usual. Such a huge change. Thank you. I actually haven't used my studio down there. It's just this tiny little closet that we've turned into my studio. And I just decided I'm gonna use it again. Hi. Okay. Jamie, only 6 days and I felt so lightheaded and yucky. Also using LMNT. I want to keep going, but it's so hard. A couple things I would strongly suggest. Make sure you're drinking enough water. Water. Also, it strongly depends on how much sugar and carbs you were consuming before you switched to this. If you went cold turkey from sugar and crap, like I did one day, to carnivore the next, it is a rough go. Your body is trying to switch from using from gasoline to diesel, and it's crying out that it wants that easy, fast sugar and carbs, and it's going to take a hot minute. Also, age, gender, are you diabetic? All of these things have an impact. How active you are, all of it are going to have an impact on how long this is going to take. Drink water. Give yourself grace in the sense you're going to feel more lethargic and tired for the first couple weeks. Honestly, it's just when you go cold turkey, it is a rough go. It's carb withdrawal is what you're going through.
Yeah. Think of it as your body is detoxing, and you just got to deal with it. It is worth that wait period. If it's 2 to 6 weeks, depending on how it goes for your body. It is so worth it. I know it's a struggle.
Usually it's not 6 weeks of the terribleness. It's usually the first 2.
That's the worst we've heard. I've seen. So.
Also, make sure you are, 1, eating enough, and 2, eating enough fat. I'm not suggesting going and eating sticks of butter. But if you're eating like a steak, add a little butter to it. That will help. Extra water. I cannot stress that enough. Extra water. And a little bit of extra fat. And that should help you with the LMNT that you're taking kind of get through this hump. Just know you are going to get tired. You are going to feel lethargic. It's going to happen, but you can mitigate it some by doing those few things. And then come back next week and let us know how you're doing. Please do.
Definitely.
Yeah, here we go. The body gives us signals. Sugar cravings is low energy. Salt is mineral deficiency. Sodium deficiencies that is bitter, that is very rare. Aldi's is carrying 0 carb jerky. Oh, yum. We do not have an Aldi's here. When I was in Minnesota, we did. Yeah. Hi, Roxanne. I do hope you come to next month's meetup. I was supposed to set one up this month, but I'm thinking...
Holidays, it's very hard.
Yeah, what I'm thinking is actually doing maybe the middle, like the 9th or something next month. Anyways, it is called Big Stick Barbecue. It is in a industrial park. At first, I'm like, are we sure this is it? But because they have to barbecue and the way it works, and retail space is very expensive up here, but big steak barbecue, delicious. Delicious.
Blue cheese dressing.
Rosacea is a parasite infection. Rosacea is an autoimmune issue, actually. Not a diabetic, but carbs for my life. Yes, carbs are in everything. Definitely in Puerto Rico. Rice, tortillas, all those kinds of stuff. But try that. You can get Atomic Habits 2 online. You can do the audio book version, or you can just do the PDF version of it. But I promise that will be one of the biggest things. I had someone I suggested the book to. And like a week later, he said he finally started and he said it had changed his life. Like, that is how much it's worth it. How do you get it? How do you get in enough fat? I use extra butter, like with my ribeye. It depends on how I'm feeling. Some days no butter with ribeye. Some days just a little bit of butter. I reassess every single meal. Butter, tallow, bacon grease. I eat the fat on my steaks, those kinds of things. We eat fattier cuts of meat, all of that. That's how I get it. I don't measure things. I go by how I feel, because here's the thing. What I do today, like physically moving, is going to be different than what I do tomorrow. So having a hard set, I need this much, to me seems a bit ridiculous, in the fact of, one, I hate tracking stuff. It stresses me out. Two, I know that our nutrient needs change day to day. So I think it's important that we pay attention day to day what we need. Were you going to say something?
Nope. That's pretty much about it.
Elizabeth, 5 months down, 40 pounds down. Woo woo.
All right.
Pre-diabetes is a thing of my past now. Amazing. That is amazing. Tara, meat aversion. I'm assuming you mean you're experiencing it. I have had a few bouts of meat aversion going down my journey. I fasted. I'm not one for fasting, but this is my logic behind it. If I was truly starving, I would not stick my nose up at any kind of food. The fact that my taste buds, my brain's like, ooh, I don't want that, told me that my brain is kind of throwing a tantrum of it wants what it wants and it doesn't want meat. So I fasted. The longest one I had to do was 48 hours. It was about 48 hours. Buddy, that steak was delicious by the time I got to it. And that's what I realized. It's like, it's a psychological reason we're having the meat aversion. Whatever it's causing it, fast through it. I promise it'll get right over it. Do you have any advice for upcoming holiday season? I find with all of the gatherings and extra food around, office, etc., it's very hard to resist, but I still want to enjoy the events. So this is what I've done for us, because Scott and I work from home. I do feel lucky that we don't have to resist work stuff. I've planned for Thanksgiving. We're ordering, of which we need to do today.
Oh, dang it.
Our whole family's checking in to get a prime rib roast for everybody. We're going to do prime rib roast, so I'm ensuring we're having a meat that I love. We do this once a year, and it's at Thanksgiving. Prime rib roast, and then my sister makes delicious sweet potatoes. I'm allowing myself to have some sweet potatoes, and that's it. Like, that's my concessions. I don't get any cake or cookies or anything like that. So I've already set my boundaries of I got to have meat and some sweet potatoes, and that's it. So to me, that's worked really well this year, of not feeling like I'm missing out. And the other thing too is, I know a lot of places, offices, people will bring stuff in from the grocery store. Pick that container up and look at the back of the ingredients, look at all the dyes and stuff. And that's an instant turn off for me, because I actually, TMI, but you're going to know anyways, I get severe diarrhea and stuff from food dyes, like terrible. Look at that. I'm like, oh, yeah, not having that. Move on. And there'll be tons of chemicals in them. Just look at that, because I think that's a really good turn off for this stuff. Scott's hands raised. By the way, I don't make him raise his hands in our house to talk. He's just sitting behind the laptop and I can't see him, before someone thinks I make him do this.
When you're going to like a corporate Christmas party or something else, or you're socializing with some friends, try not to go hungry.
Yes.
Have a good meal before you go. Have a little bit of snack in your pocket if you need, whether it be some tasty meat sticks or some bacon you've cooked beforehand. The salt rocks that we've talked about.
It's not up here.
It's not up here. Okay, so Amanda did a video 2 days ago about the 5 things she does.
My
Salt
5 essential supplements that I use on carnivore.
Salt Rock. Salt Rock will really help you get through cravings. Having a bridge drink will also help you get through those cravings, because there's going to be lots of stuff available. But if you can put something in your mouth that will help satiate to get through that, you'll do a lot better on those, And then to what Amanda's point, know what you plan on giving yourself. We went to
Cheesecake Factory.
Cheesecake Factory, and we have not been able to go to Cheesecake Factory before our entire life and not eat 3,000 to 5,000 calorie meals.
Carbs, sugar, appetizers, breads, cheesecake, all of that. I have never in my entire life been able to go there and not have any of it. We had no bread. The only non-carnivore thing I had is I had a Caesar salad with no croutons, but whatever. I love Caesar salad. That's my treat I give myself, and I'm pretty sure that's okay because I do fine with it. We did the burgers, cheese, bacon, Caesar salad. That is all we had.
I loved it.
But I negotiated with myself ahead of time, and I looked at the menu and I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? And I set my, this is what I'm going to do. And once I decided and I spoke that out, I literally told Scott, this is what I'm going to do. It becomes, if I want to be my word and do what I say I'm going to do, then that means I have to follow it. So it almost is putting it in cement for me. And that is actually, I think, a really important thing. Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life really talks about this. I think it's another amazing book to read, is how many times in life have people told us they do things and they didn't? And sometimes it's very detrimental. Sometimes it's just annoying. But I absolutely hate when people tell me they're going to do things and they don't. Just either don't lie to me or, just don't tell me you're going to do it, and these kinds of things. And I realized I did it too. It wasn't just other people. I would say I'd do something, wouldn't do it. Didn't matter what the reason was. I didn't feel like it. Something happened, blah, blah, blah. But I realized I did it too. And then more deep introspection, I realized I did it to myself all the time. I'm not going to do X. 5 minutes later, I go and eat a bag of cookies. I'm not going to do blah, 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 whatever it was. Or I'm going to go take a walk, and I never actually followed through. And I realized through all of that, I kept saying I'd do something, and I realized I no longer valued what I told myself. In the sense of, if I said I'd do something, that little voice in the back of my head's like, no, you're not. You're a big liar. You're not going to do it. And being our word, this is like working a muscle. And it's the whole thing with tiny habits. You have to consistently do it. Start small. Don't say I'm going to go climb Mount Everest when you barely can walk up a hill. Small things. I'm going to go make that bed. And then go make the dumb bed. The small things. And then you realize as you start telling yourself you're going to do things, you start doing them. And then that's where you get your self-belief of I can do this. I can do carnivore. I can eat healthy. You can, because you've cast votes on doing the small things every day that you have done, and you start to believe in yourself again. That was one of the biggest changes I realized in my mid-20s. I used to always believe I can lose weight. I can do this diet. And at some point I realized I no longer believed in myself at all. I'd say I do something and instantly it's like, no, you're not, Amanda. You're a big failure. No, you're not. And how I got out of that rut was doing that. Small things every day. Small things every day. Being my word and telling myself and being honest. Am I going to go walk 10 miles today hiking? No, because it's going to rain later. So I'm not going to tell myself I'm going to do it. Being realistic and honest with ourselves. I got off on a tangent and I don't even know where we started, but there y'all go, because that is the best advice ever.
Like getting through holidays.
Yes, getting through holidays. Scott's right. Eat something you really enjoy before you go. Take snackies with you. And then if you do a seltzer water drinker or just a flat water drinker, drink water throughout the event. It keeps your hand and your mouth busy, so you're less likely to want to go pick up and eat things. And the Salt Rock. Salt Rock, super good to suck on a few times. And what a bonus it is having Scott's support. It is. I am extremely blessed, and I wholeheartedly know I am. I wouldn't trade Scott for anything. No amount of money, nothing in this world. Good morning, Danita. Barbecue meetup sounds great. Haven't been to Bellingham in a while. Adopted my 2 kitties from No Kill Shelter near there. Amazing. Yeah, I haven't quite decided what we're going to do yet, because it's getting cold, but we might. Our last meetup was there. I think we're going to do it again because it's so good. You can order meat by the pound too. Do you add a lot of extra fat with chicken and turkey meals? Yes. I actually don't like turkey. I don't cook with it. The tryptophan or whatever always puts me to sleep. Beef is the better option. However, I do still have chicken every once in a while. But like my chicken wings, I do the chicken wings, which is a fattier cut, and then I make the buffalo sauce that is literally a stick of butter. I don't eat the whole thing, but it's got butter and the hot sauce and stuff in it. So I'm eating fatty chicken with more fatty sauce to ensure that I'm getting enough. Because if I don't, I find I'm hungry much sooner afterwards if I don't eat enough fat. Oh, here we go. Bring deviled eggs with butter and bacon bits to gatherings. Yeah, bring something you like with you.
Yeah.
We make, when people come over, like yesterday, Scott's friends came over for game day. I made taco meat with beef. And then Redmond's has this taco seasoning that I like using. I made that. And then I made homemade queso with chopped up pickled jalapenos and then pork rinds. And that's what I served them. And
And they
it
loved
works.
it.
Yeah, they loved it. Two of them are carnivore-esque. Scott raising his hands and talking about it makes me chuckle every time. I just can't see him behind the laptop screen, so he's like over there like this, so I can see because he's got really long hands.
No, I have long arms, not long hands. But long hands, it look
Oh,
like
sorry, I meant arms. Hopefully you saw that, Teresa. Salt crystals from Redmond's Real Salt. Yes, my favorite. Yeah, checking the menus out before you go. It's a game changer because then you aren't. Don't do this. Don't wait to get to the restaurant to check it out because guess what? If you're hungry, it's going to be 10 times more harder to not get something that sounds good. So have a plan before you go. It really does help.
Also, part of having a plan is having a plan in your schedule. It's like, oh, we're going to go to this place about 2-ish, and then we'll go over, here about 4-ish. And, it's like if you end up going at like 3 or 4, and then the next one's like 6, and you were planning on eating at 5, well, you're going to probably be starving and when you're still at a social gathering. That's kind of one of those things where it's like, just kind of try to look ahead and do your best planning for yourself to give yourself a chance to be successful and resist temptation.
Set yourself up for success.
And more than that, if you do stumble, forgive yourself. Tomorrow's a new day.
Whatever, 10 minutes is a new minute later on. If you do, it's the whole thing with the Atomic Habits talks about. It's casting votes. If you eat 100 healthy meals and then one bad meal, does it erase the 100 healthy meals? No. It's just 100 votes towards eating healthy and one vote towards eating bad. It doesn't. The problem is, and this is how I got 360 pounds. I had a ton more votes towards the eating bad side of it because I was constantly doing it versus eating healthy meals. And that's the thing is we have to realize. And also accepting the fact that the more we cast votes towards the not good eating, it does slow us down. And, is that the end of the world? No. And the thing is we can't go back and change it. That is one thing that helps me more than anything. If I was to eat a bag of Oreos, which disgusting, by the way, if I was to eat a bag of Oreos right now, there is nothing I can do to erase the past 5 minutes. It is what it is. Accept it, understand why I did it, and then move on. That's helped so much. So much. Candace said, it's a horrible feeling when I lie to myself. Yeah. And, I started off with like pointing it at about others and then finally realized it's because I did it to myself too. And the more and more and more and more we stop lying to ourselves, the further along we get and the easier this journey gets. It's a difficult journey because it's not just about controlling what we're putting in our mouth. There's always reasons habits develop, always. And it's going to be different from, people depending on their life experiences. But as humans, we are so good at hiding things from ourselves and lying to ourselves. And, we're just really good. We have a view of ourselves and how life is. And if anything kind of touches upon that being wrong or life-altering shift of view, it's like our cat claws come out and we just deceive ourselves just to keep that view of life. I experienced this when I made a left turn years and years ago and someone ran a red light and T-boned me. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, I'm such a great driver. I'm never going to get in an accident. Well, I can't control other people. Like they ran the red light and T-boned me. I can't control other people. And that was very world altering for me because I had this view of the world and myself and control. And then I realized I actually don't have any control. And so it's moments like that, like things we think of and hold on to. All right. Winter where I live, sweaters and coats are just big enough I'm finding the wind and cold is blowing up the back even with layers, but I don't want to spend money on a new wardrobe. Can you sew? That is my question. Because what I would do is I would take some elastic, and you can hand sew it in there if you want, around the bottom of your jacket and attach elastic. It may not look the most aesthetically pleasing, but take some elastic to your more normal size. And what it'll do is it'll bring the coat in there. That's my suggestion. If you want to be even cheaper, you can put a belt around it. I mean, these are just all free options. I would probably do the elastic and sew the elastic on the inside of it. What else? Any other suggestions?
Short of actually spending money at a thrift store.
That would be my suggestion, is elastic on the inside, because you can hand stitch it pretty easy. And if you're not a seamstress, that's okay. Tons of easy Google video or YouTube videos to show you how to do that. And elastic, you can get probably enough for a few coats for like $10 or something. Liz, that's fantastic. You and Scott are like dear friends, I'm assuming, the way you are so... I'm not even going to pretend. Thank you, Liz. I knew what you meant. I knew what you meant. Scott's talkative today. He is. Some days he is, some days he's not. It just depends. Candace, checking restaurant menus is where I lie to myself. I'll plan what to eat and then I'll pick something else that's off plan. I'll work on this. Maybe a little journaling before I go. I'm curious, Candace, when you go, are you hungry? Like, are you really hungry by the time you get there? You may do well eating a little bit before you go. Because I know when I'm hangry, that is the time I have to have Scott watch my back, that I'm not going to do something stupid and order something bad is when I'm hangry, because it's just like I don't give a crap brain cells turn on. I'm like, I don't care. I don't care if I'm eating 1,000 carbs. But that's when I get really hungry. So maybe eating a little snacky snack before you go might help take the edge off. Or Salt Rock. How do you feel about keeping your hands busy? I have an easier time not eating when gaming. I get so caught up. I guess I need combining with planned with good meals. Yeah, I have been teaching myself how to crochet. And I actually took my crochet backpack with me to the pet emergency vet yesterday with Ryu, and I did that purposely so I wasn't sitting there staring at my phone perseverating. I actually had my hands and brain busy trying to crochet sitting in the seat while waiting for her. I think it's a good thing. Something I do suggest too is, don't get me wrong, Scott and I are nerds. We love to play. Scott loves playing video games. Do try to incorporate things that are also movement, keeping your hands busy, because I'm well aware of crocheting. I sit on my booty and listen to my audiobook. But try adding other things too in there that you can do. Like the other day, I was feeling stressed. So Olive and I got on the bike and Olive went for a run with me. I'm getting confused about buying eggs. I heard that cage-free or access to outdoors aren't necessarily mean they're the best. Am I supposed to look for pastured? It depends on your budget, honestly. Cage-free, it is kind of a play on words, because cage-free means that they literally can go out, that they just have to have an opening to go out, and it could be a 5x5 square area for like 500 chickens, and they can consider that cage-free. Now, if you are wanting the absolute best, the farm-raised eggs are going to be your best bet. Now, quality of eggs, there's nuance with it, and here's, what do we buy?
We could.
Is it cage-free that we buy?
I think it does say cage-free, but it's Costco.
It's the Costco cage-free eggs.
I don't know. I look at it this way: are you eating an egg or a bagel? So
I mean, that is a good point.
You know, like an egg is an egg. Yes, it could be marginally better than some eggs that are cage-free, or some that are organic,
pasture,
free-range chickens that can run 100 miles from a coyote if they need to. Whatever. Just, are you eating an egg versus
So
versus a
100
bagel?
miles. You want that chicken that can run 100 miles from a coyote?
Hey, it's gonna be lean as hell because that's a fast chicken. It's
It
like
would
if
have-
they had all the fat off.
It would have some beefy legs, though, wouldn't it? This is what our life is like. These are conversations. Our life is all the
I don't know
time.
where that came from. Just, it's like, the whole argument about organic grass-fed beef. Like, maybe there's a marginal difference, but it's just better to have beef than, pasta meal every other day because
Yes.
spaghetti's dirt cheap.
And it's really going to be based on what you can afford. Eating Spam is better than eating a bagel. Eating, choice cut chuck roast is better than Spam. Eating grass-fed chuck roast is better than the choice chuck roast. But the higher quality you get up, it's like you're squeaking just minimal gains out of it. I don't like grass-fed. I do not like the taste of grass-fed, because someone asked me the other day on one of my videos if I do grass-fed. I wish I did. I do not like grass-fed. It doesn't taste very good to me. So that's where I'm at. Would it be slightly better if we did? Yeah. Can we afford it? No. So Danita, if you can afford it, pasture raised is the absolute best you can get. The organic pasture raised, yes. But if you have to get the lower tiers, we're talking minimal improvements, okay?
Yeah, it's diminishing returns.
There you go. Thank you. It is diminishing returns the higher you go. Unless you're doing it for more my brain reasons, for animal cruelty and things like that, then there's different improvements in there when you're looking at that. Elizabeth, crocheting, Goodwill, $2 too, Thursdays, depending on the area. Ooh, there we go. Goodwill. Our Goodwills are very expensive. I can find new stuff on sale for the same thing our Goodwill sells used stuff for. It's crazy. I meant pasture raised, pastured means something else. So there is a website that explains the difference between the marketing language that they use. If I can find it, I will post it in the description once we're done with this video for you, Danita, and it'll explain the difference between like cage-free, pasture-raised, all of this. I'm not usually that hungry. I might be stronger if I didn't look at the menu once there and just ordered. Yes, don't ask for the menu. If they set the menu in front of you, I'm like, nope, I don't need this. I already know what I want. Set that sucker aside. You get no other options, because unless you have like an I did it, whatever, photographic memory and things like that, you're not going to remember exactly what they have. Set that menu aside. Tell them no bread, water. You need no menu. That will help. Oh, here we go. Try binder clips inside your coat. Boom. There you go. That's even more brilliant idea, because then you don't have to sew anything. Betsy said, Vital Farm pastured eggs when I can find them. Whole Paycheck will have some really good ones. Really good ones. Yeah, some places they do feed crap to their chicken. But at the same time, y'all, remember, you buy what you can afford. Okay, if you're buying the cheapest eggs there are, but you're not buying spaghetti noodles and bagels and stuff, that is 1,000 steps up, above, and beyond. Is Scott telling us to stop massaging pandas?
What?
Sometimes I don't know what Scott's telling me. I'm going to be honest. I'm just nodding my head along, and he's just talking. I'm just like, sure. Running chickens from coyotes. This is my life.
Pretty sure I didn't mention pandas, but I don't know.
Yeah. Grass-fed tastes fishy to me. I don't like it. I don't either. I think next year I want to look at getting a whole cow and then splitting it between like my brother's family and ours. I would like to try a few different farms around the area, because sometimes I wonder, does the type of grass actually impact the taste too? Because I mean, it makes a difference. So I'm just wondering if the type of grass finished. So I'd like to try some other ones before I just completely call it quits. Chicken running far and fast. I simply eat what I can afford, and that's it. And that's the other thing too. As we feel better, we do better. you will find that you will actually start making more money in your job. And here's why. You do better. You're happier. You're more productive. You either get raises or you get so self-empowered. You're like, you know what? This is a crappy job. I'm going to get a different one. Now, it doesn't happen overnight, maybe 6 months, a couple years, whatever, but your income will actually increase. The better you do, the more you're your word, and the more healthy you feel, you will actually make more money. So start with what you can, and then, things happen. Here, Rita. Cage-free means there's hundreds of chickens in a huge barn. Free range means they have some access to outside. Can be a 5x5 yard. Pasture raised means they're living in a good chicken life. Scott's raising his hand again.
It made me kind of trigger what you were talking about right there, honey, is that when you start being your word to yourself, you believe in yourself. And Atomic Habits kind of covers this in chapter 1 and chapter 2. When you start believing in yourself, you change your identity of who you are, then you've probably all heard about this, right? Confidence matters. When you believe in yourself, you're confident, and then you're productive, you're happy. I was just reminiscing that we had our friends over, and a couple years ago, we went nowhere. We hung out with no one.
No one.
And
no
we're
one.
planning on going to a thing in December with some other friends of these friends and just socializing, which we haven't done for years. And so the more and more that you be your word to yourself about your health and your life, the more confident you are, the happier you are. Mm-hmm. And it shows up in all areas of your life because you view yourself differently. But when you start eating bad and you keep doing that, then you start that process of like a downward spiral. And the only way to really arrest that and go the other way is do small things that build good habits, that build yourself up as a person.
And this is also, I think, Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life. Whether you like the man or not, erase his name and just read the book. Okay. It talks about how there's a hierarchy for everything in life, and there's a societal hierarchy. We, in our little, I don't want to say primordial brains, but pretty much in our lower part of our brains, we rank ourselves in the hierarchy. If you look at someone else and you're like, man, they're doing so much better than I am, that is, you're ranking yourself lower than them. And when we're at the bottom of the rung, whatever that hierarchy that our brain has put us in, if we feel like we've been stepped on, stomped on, can't get anywhere, are we going to take any actions to change that? The answer is no, because we don't believe in ourselves. And that's why that's why Atomic Habits, Tiny Habits, Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules. Read those 3 books, and I promise you, you will view yourself as a different person by the time you're reading the last page of the last book, because it opens our eyes up so much of how we stop believing in ourselves. And it all starts with lying to ourselves constantly and not being our words. That's like the key. That is the absolute key.
For those people that are religious, what is God? How would you define God? Is integrity, like that's synonymous with God? He never breaks his promises, right? The truth, that's kind of synonymous with God. So if you really kind of like view that way, when you start talking the truth and you are acting the truth, you start acting very godly.
Sorry, I was not laughing at that. Gribble Keto said local farms can also feed crap to their chickens, just saying. Then Mike said, so basically farms that feed crap to their chicken are local to someone. They are. You just got to look and see what's in your area, Terry, almost 60 days on the plan. Whoop, whoop. Found brown butter, and now I eat too much. Go figure. Yeah, we can still overeat meat and butters and stuff like that. It's all about learning not to use food as emotional support or, to fill a void inside ourselves. Karen, types of grass makes a difference in beef taste. See, I think that'll be maybe my springtime journey, is going to farms around the area that do grass fed and trying out the different beefs and see if there's a farm that has. Let's see. Make sure you talk to the local farmer before you get beef from them. Yeah, there's handfuls of farmers around here. Handfuls. My admin was not doing a very good job. That's okay. I banned them. I kicked them out.
I'm sorry, I was trying to find it. I have it.
Because it was. I just booted them out. Okay. I need your hive mind. I just knit a queen size throw. Ooh, that's a big one. I found a pattern that I love for scarves that I want to make into a blanket. What size do I want? Another queen. Opinions welcome. Depends on what you need for your house. I have yet to knit anything larger than a scarf. And then I got mad and unraveled the scarf like 5 times. I don't know if I have enough patience to knit something that large. I really don't have that much patience. I've gotten my 4 legs. I can't reach them. I got 4 of the horse legs done. The body, the neck, the head, the ears. I still have its mane and tail, unicorn. And it's pegacorn. That's what it's called. It's called, this is pegacorn wings to do. Right now, it takes 6 months to get beef from a local person. Yeah, if you're wanting to do larger purchases, it just depends on the farm itself. So I'm thinking springtime, I'll look around because it just depends on the cattle farmer. My brother is now currently raising lambs. Sheep. Well, sheep. A lamb isn't a lamb a baby sheep?
A lamb is a baby sheep. But
sheep.
They're not, I don't think they're pregnant yet, so
whatever. He bought some land and he's like 45 minutes south of us. He's raising sheep. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to see them and eat them, but that's what he's doing, is he's raising them to be able to eat them. Lori, of the 3 books, which is the best to read first? If you are wanting to take actionable advice today, Tiny Habits. If you have a lot of past history, trauma, and a lot of like baggage you've been dragging around, 12 Rules. If you are a person that does better with more philosophy-based things, Atomic Habits. I would probably suggest, this would be my order: Tiny Habits, 12 Rules, Atomic Habits. And that is for the person that does better with actionable advice, because Tiny Habits actually gives you suggestions that you can use in here. Like every morning, getting up and the minute my feet hit the floor, saying out loud, it's going to be a wonderful day today. It's just like a little morning. They don't call it a mantra, but that's what I call it. And just, that's a tiny habit. Every morning, get up, feet hit the floor. It's going to be a wonderful day today. And genuinely feeling that way. Yes.
I have a different opinion. I feel that 12 Rules is first because it gives you the structure of how your brain processes and just how a human works in the world, because hierarchies are very important in understanding those. Then when you understand that structure, you can understand why you've got the habits that you do. So when you read either of the other habit books, it'll help you reflect and start to decide which habits you have and why, and what you want to change, to how you want to change them.
Yeah. So it depends on what you're necessarily looking at to do. 12 Rules is a wonderful book. It is a deeper read. I strongly suggest reading the book and not the audio version of it, or do one and then the other. But I actually had to go back and reread a few sections of it to fully understand it, because it's a deep book. And honestly, it's kind of a heavy hitter because he pulls no punches when he kind of points things out and you're like, oh God, I do that. Oh Lord, I guess I've been doing that. Oh Lord, like just these epiphanies you have in the book as he's talking about someone else and you're like, oh my God, I did that. I do that. Okay, well maybe that's why I got where I got. And so it can be a difficult book, but I think something honestly everybody should read. I really do.
If you don't make it that far, just get to chapter 7. Because chapter 7 is
Which one's chapter 7?
That's where
don't lie.
Try to tell the truth,
or at least don't lie. Yes.
And it's actually a very interesting to me because I've studied a lot of theology. It's a very clinical and scientific approach to why telling the truth is critical for life.
Mm-hmm.
It's like making the argument that the truth is the best thing in the world to do, and it's not like because God's going to punish you. It's because, well, this is how life works better. And it's a very interesting chapter that I think, at least if you get to that, then you start to learn to tell yourself the truth, talk to yourself, and have know what good self-talk is, understand how to forgive yourself, understand why you beat yourself up, and why you're not able to get ahead because you keep beating yourself up. So that process to me that's why I ranked it first, because for me that helped me really understand my own self-talk was my worst enemy and why. And then the habits help me build more.
Yeah. So you decide which one. Actionable habits, tiny habits. You really want to deep delve into yourself. 12 rules.
I am very talkative today, aren't I?
You are.
I should shut up with some coffee.
Chris. Hi, Chris. Good morning. What numbers did Dr. Berry want you to get checked when you did your blood work for cholesterol? You want to ask for an NMR. It's, I forgot the actual name of it, but it's like nuclear magnetic resonance, whatever. It's an NMR test, or advanced cardiac IQR. If you're in Bellingham and you go to, is it Quest up here? Quest Labs. They are a pain in the butt, and I had to go 4 times for them to do the right test. Ask for the NMR one. That'll give you the particle sizes. It'll give you your pattern sizes, all of that. So NMR is what you want to do. Okay, y'all, it is 10:02. I don't think I missed any other questions. Oh, Dawn asked, do I sell? No, I just make my stuff. I'm currently making a Pegacorn. It's a Pegasus/unicorn for my niece for Christmas. I started early. It's like a 2-foot tall Pegacorn I'm making for her. That's what I'm doing right now. My crafts are not good enough to sell.
Sorry,
I like to do it for fun. Don't apologize. Anywho, I appreciate you guys. Have a very, very good week. I promise, if some of you guys, if you have not read Tiny Habits or Atomic Habits, it will change your life. The books aren't that big. They are wonderful, wonderful books. I suggest both of them, but pick one and start it. It will change your view of yourself, your own life, and it will drastically change your journey. No joke. Last thing is, we are actually doing Tiny Habits for Book Club starting this Thursday in our Discord. It is free. You just have to go to carnivorousme.com. There is a book club tab, and it kind of tells you where to click so you can join the Discord for our server. We do it Thursdays, 6:00 p.m. Pacific. We'll be doing chapters 1 and 2 of the book, and then we'll do a few chapters every single week on Thursdays at 6 p.m. Pacific. Anybody's welcome to join, and I hope to see you guys there, because this is an excellent book, and you do not have to have a microphone, but it does help if people read it and are willing to talk about it with me. All right, y'all. Have a good weekend, and I will talk to you next week. Bye. Scott says bye.
Bye. Sorry. I was reading comments.